Go fast, another episode of Star Trek Prodigy has arrived. This time it's all about visiting Starfleet, or maybe not. Regardless, this was a fun little episode of the series that serves to advance the plot while delivering a core message about Star Trek and Starfleet at the same time. You don't need a real ship to believe in what it stands for. It's a great description of Starfleet and what it means to be a part of the organisation. As usual, this is our full review of Prodigy, so spoiler warning, turn away now if you've not watched the episode yet. Or if you haven't, just stick around. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get into it. Titled Overworld Stage, this episode is directed by Andrew L. Schmidt, and written by executive producer Aaron Waltke. I hope I've just pronounced Aaron's name correctly there. He follows us on Twitter and sometimes watches these reviews. Sorry, Aaron. Oh, by the way, look what we finally have. Our 100k YouTube award has finally arrived, so it's now sitting there alongside our Murph plushie, which looks beautiful, from New York Comic Con. Thanks once again to everyone tuning in and supporting the channel. Sure, I'll put an image on screen of me holding both our YouTube plaques right now, as it's beautiful. Anyway, before we walk into the video, if you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. As always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, we want to hear about it. Okay? Engage. With the previous episode of Prodigy being written by Aaron J. Waltke, being Kobayashi, the episode in which we got the holodeck program of Scotty, Uhura, Spock, and Odo, he lives up to his reputation of giving us some great Star Trek in this latest episode of Prodigy with Overworld Stage. Before we talk about that, let's talk Janeway. The episode opens with our little Janeway and the USS Dauntless segment. We're getting more and more of the Admiral and her crew putting the parts together each week. However, right now, Janeway has the Diviner awake and mostly spewing random bits of information about what has happened so far. What is interesting though, is what Ensign Senior reports. It appears they've located the communication relay escape pod, the one that Barnett Specs escaped in when the station was destroyed. However, the escape pod is empty. Therefore, there is a mystery not only for Janeway, but also for the viewer. What has happened to our friendly Denobulan? Now, if I had to make a theory on who picked him up, I'd say it could have to do with another character appearing in Prodigy very soon. That character would be Thaddeus O'Connor. Don't know where that came from. Now, we know he's appearing in the upcoming episodes, and hopefully we won't butcher his pronunciation. Actor William O. Campbell reprised his role from Star Trek The Next Generation. Based on the trailers, he'll be teaming up with our young crew sometime soon. Another detail in the Janeway segment is that she learns that Chakotay was captured. Therefore, she's now on a hunt for the ship. We were right when we said Janeway would be hunting for the Protostar. I'm very excited to see more of the Dauntless and her new crew. I just wish we spent more time with these characters to flesh them out even more. The main plot of this episode is our Protostar crew coming upon a planet which has already been contacted by Starfleet, though it looks like an unfortunate cultural contamination issue, with the species now having adopted Starfleet to look at them. They're getting a lot of the aspects wrong. They refer to Starfleet as Starflight, their uniforms are mismatched, they call themselves weird forms of our TOS characters, Sulu, James T, Spock, and so on. Honestly, it feels like if we gave somebody else to write Star Trek and it just went wrong. You know, it feels like a copyright avoidance thing. Their settlement is in the shape of a Starfleet ship. They put on plays about the original series. Some bad Prime Directive culture and contamination has definitely happened on this planet. Now, it's similar to Sigma Loiter adopting Chicago gangs as an effect of cultural contamination. This place has adopted the original series Starfleet as a template for their culture. Now, this gives our characters a mirror to examine themselves. Both this civilization and our crew of the Protostar, in essence, pretend to be Starfleet. They wear the uniforms and they speak the language, but neither is actually Starfleet. Now, we do get a great quote from, I believe, Bones, who says, "You don't need a real starship to believe in what it stands for." And that is such a good quote for not only something which our characters can apply to themselves, though we do have a real starship, despite knowing Starfleet, they can still live up to their ideals. And in a way, that message also applies to us, the viewer. We may not have Starfleet or starships or that caliber, but we can still live up to those ideals of bettering ourselves and everything that Starfleet stands for. But how did these Enterprisians get contaminated in the first place? And also, isn't this planet pretty far out for a Federation starship to get to? Well, let's deal with the latter first, because where are our crew? Well, it seems like we're firmly in the Beta Quadrant right now. The series started in the Delta Quadrant, but Tars Lamor was on the Delta Quadrant Beta Quadrant border. A reason why there are so many Federation races on Tars Lamor as slaves was because the Divine not only used it as a small means of revenge, but specifically targeted those races. Our ship was heading into the direction of the Gamma Quadrant, so it will be somewhere near the Galactic Core as well. And with meeting a Federation relay station, our crew is definitely in at least the basic quadrant and probably in or around Federation space. Hopefully we'll get a map at some point which might help them clear this up a little bit. And now, to deal with the former, how did this planet get contaminated? Well, Ensign David Garvik of the USS Enterprise seems to have crashed on a planet with the shuttlecraft Galileo and was never recovered. This shuttlecraft crashed into a cave of dilithium crystals on the planet and had a broken warp core, which caused plasma to leak out and react with the dilithium, causing deadly side effects to those who strove near. Ensign Garvik would be injured but saved by the local population, and teach him about Starfleet and the Federation before he ultimately succumbed to his wounds, and was probably unaware of how receptive this species would actually be, contaminating the whole culture and causing it to change into this weird offshoot world. Interestingly enough, we do know this ensign from the original series, David Garvik, who was the son of Captain Garvik of the USS Farragut, yes, that Farragut, which Kirk previously served aboard. Garvik and Kirk would be obsessed with destroying the Dichronicum? Yeah. It's basically a cloud creature that attacked the Farragut and killed most of its crew, which included but not only Kirk's crewmates, but also Garvik Jr.'s father. In the end, our crew managed to fix this issue in an interesting way. They'll recruit some of these Enterpriseians to work on the ship, the Protostar, whose bridge consoles can be modified with holographic technology to look like the original series, something they were taught by Garvik to use. The use of holographic technology in Prodigy does lead us very nicely into programmable matter that is used in Star Trek Discovery, with its controls adopting to what the crew is used to, and in this case, the original series style consoles. And I guess if we compare it, the USS Stargaze and 2401, aka Picard Season 2, actually uses some holographic foot pedals, so there is certainly an evolution or design evolution here. So this may actually be deemed a second contact, and we get a little line from Holo Janeway that the rules of second contact are a little fuzzy, which I'm sure is a lower decks reference. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen if Admiral Janeway, on the trail of a Protostar, finds this world and understands what our kids have done. One of the final continuing plot points of this show is that Murph is changing, being ill throughout this episode, but now fully being in a cocoon at the end of the episode. We have heard from creatives at some trailers that Murph is morphing, or should I say Murphing. This morphing Murph has actually been officially released online in SFX magazine, though spoiler warning, we have an article on our website about this new form of Murph. So if you're interested in there, go take a look, otherwise be warned it is for the spoilers, but we know some of you actually like looking at what's coming up in the show. And if Paramount PR are going to release ahead of time, we're going to report on it, so thanks PR. Overall, a rather fun and interesting episode for Star Trek Prodigy. I've got to commend the writing and the delivery of the core message about Starfleet. That being that you don't need a starship to believe in what the organisation stands for. Not only is this a message to the viewers, it's also one to our young crew. At the end, Dal says they're finding their way to Starfleet without the Protostar if need be. This does pose an interesting question for our crew and the show as a whole. Prodigy is about our crew of prodigies, and not about the ship of a Protostar. So will the show actually be willing to leave the Protostar? Could we see this as a part of the show's arc, leaving a Protostar and actually going to Starfleet? Perhaps even to Starfleet Academy? I could see during the rest of maybe the series, once Admiral Janeway knows about what these kids have done, and not just viewing them as criminals and kidnappers, she could sponsor their applications to Starfleet Academy. Which would be a cool way for the show to evolve, and do that Starfleet Academy series we've known about for a while. Prodigy continues to be that show that is very much Star Trek to the core, giving us not only the morals of Starfleet, but connections to our previous shows in a way that hopefully will inspire a new generation of Star Trek fans. The next generation. So what did you think of the latest Star Trek Prodigy episode? In the spirit of Starflight, we require you to let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Make it so. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server, links down below. For now, however, I have been Captain Jack. Thank you very much for watching this episode review of Star Trek Prodigy, and we'll see you next time. Live long, prosper, my friends. Goodbye.